Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to Coffee with Kem and Hills. Ooh, both of us are like, where's the energy today?
It's definitely a Monday.
Like, for real. We were trying to film a reel. Couldn't even speak.
Nope.
So I was like, take it away, Hillary. That's okay. We've got our coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's ice in my coffee, by the way.
It is summer. It is hot.
It's hot, and we've been in a heat wave for I feel like 1,000 days straight now. Also, like when you're pregnant, it's like you already feel
Always
like you're
a
in
heat
an
wave.
internal heat wave. So it's like, it's bad. But how was your weekend?
It was good. It was really, really busy.
Yeah.
So, but also, I think the heat just like kind of sucks the
life out of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can't just keep a small kid inside all day. I mean, you can, but like then they don't sleep, and then you don't sleep.
No, I know.
So yeah, it was just lots of finding ways to keep cool outside.
Yeah, it is hard. Like it's very, very hard to keep a child entertained indoors.
Yeah.
Like they need to get out.
They
and
do.
You're like, gosh.
The lucky thing for Philly is that they, like our public pools, are free on days when it's over 85 degrees.
That's awesome.
Which is great because it's like always over 85 from basically like July through August.
So just free all summer, basically.
Free all summer, yeah.
That's amazing.
So that's a nice way to like kill some time and get some energy out. And then there's lots of splash pads, which is like a huge...
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, nothing's free around us for some reason.
It's the burbs for you.
Yeah, right? Plus inflation? I mean, come on. Yeah, we're more like turn the sprinkler on and have a run, kid.
There you go. That works too.
That's where we're at.
Because you've got the yard for it. You might as well.
That's true, yeah. I mean, that's part of the burb's life as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We filled up a bucket and we were like, stuck her in it. I mean, she's so like baby. She loved it.
That's great.
We're like, this is cute. You're in a bucket. Baby in a bucket.
Baby in a bucket.
Baby in a bucket.
Not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, though. Just a baby in a bucket.
Just a baby in a bucket, exactly. Not to be confused.
Not to be confused.
All right, so speaking of inflation.
Yes. The cost of things.
Which we speak of often,
Yes.
but 'tis the season.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an article from the Wall Street Journal. So what's a good raise right now, as in this crazy financial climate? So most Americans won't get a big enough raise this year to keep up with inflation because inflation is so high. I mean, that would have to be a pretty hefty raise.
Right.
Consumer prices were up 8.6% in May compared with a year ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the average wage increase is around 4% that people are getting, which, you know, is up from 3 to 4% from previous years, pre-pandemic, but obviously that's less than half of what the percentage is for inflation. So unfortunately, if you didn't get at least an 8.5% wage increase this past year, then your buying power is going down, and you're getting not technically, but you are working for less money than you were last year at this time.
Right.
So there's that, which is really fun news. Happy Monday.
Everyone's like, yeah, we know about this already. Thanks for reminding us. But there is like some things that you can do some research, you know, you can do to maybe see sort of like what you might kind of qualify for in comparison to other people who have like similar job history, positions as you. I thought this was interesting. More than 26% of all job listings shared on LinkedIn now include salary information. So that's my Michigan accent comes out and I like salary. It's always here too, like when I'm reading something. Salary information. Oh, I should just let it flow naturally. I mean, it is my roots.
Yeah, and I think that that's really great, which is, you know, probably a much higher statistic than it has been in the past.
Yes.
So, you know, doing your market research, are you actually getting paid within like what is out there in the market. They are saying, the article also talks about how if you change jobs or change companies, you are typically getting about a 6% increase. We have seen, earlier in the year, people getting 30% wage increases if they switch companies. So that 6% is an average. Like, you can certainly get more and should probably leverage for more, especially given inflation.
Yes. But it does point out that, devil's advocate, to take into account that like staying with your employer could make you more valuable in the long run. So there's that to consider as well before you just like jump ship. So you have to like, think about like long-term goals and what could happen within your, current employment.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people do reviews and salary changes. I don't know, the companies I've always been at, it's like in the March timeframe, whether or not that's every company.
Okay.
So it's certainly something to be thinking about. Right now, it's probably tougher to go back to your employer and say, hey, I actually should have a bigger increase, especially if they only gave you a cost of living increase this year. But it doesn't hurt to ask if you feel like you are in good standing with your company, with your boss. Some companies aren't doing wage increases, but more like a one-time bonus to keep people. Right. I think it's also valid, like if you aren't getting what you need from your current company and it's not going to be a place where you build your career, maybe there's a reason to go look for something outside, because you can go check on LinkedIn and see 25% of those jobs that have salaries.
Yeah, it's true. They even offer some great questions to ask. Okay, so one would be, how do you benchmark my salary to market?
Which I think is a really interesting question to ask.
I do too. And I wonder like if they'd be like, huh? Like, I wasn't expecting that. Good question.
They also say, what is the pay band for my role at this company? And I think that a lot of HRs and bosses, when talking about raises, certainly think that question is going to come up. But I think that the market research is a question they probably aren't prepared for, to your point.
Yeah. Also, what would I have to do to increase my pay?
Yeah.
So just saying like, maybe you're willing to like take on another task. I don't know, or what do you need to do? But these are all options for you.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things too, at least in my personal experience, coming to the table now, if you're looking for just a cost of living increase and not necessarily feeling like this is a raise, where like that's a different conversation, but I don't think it ever hurts to come to this conversation with why you deserve to have a raise.
Sure.
And I've always found you ask for more than what you'd like, and you typically get less than what you actually want. But negotiations start high, and then you can figure out a good middle ground. But coming to that conversation with major accomplishments or what you have brought to the company, especially in terms of revenue or savings, is always typically going to make that conversation easier and hopefully garner a little bit more money in your pocket.
Yeah, we're wishing everyone luck here. Because inflation's bad, gas is bad. This is all, it's hard.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back with more hot topics. Welcome back, everyone. All right, so things are changing for, student loan repayments. As in, you're going to have to start making those payments.
Yep. August 21st is the date where federal student loans are going to be reinstated.
That's creeping up real fast, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is another article from the Wall Street Journal. We love you. Need to refinance your student loans? Here's tips for the end of the payment pause. Okay.
So I think one thing to remember too is that private student loans didn't go into this pause for the pandemic.
Right.
This only was for federal student loans. So That's always something to be wary of because I think a lot of people read articles or saw on the news and maybe didn't pay their student loans during the pandemic or at least for a couple months.
Yeah,
confusion. And there was a lot of confusion out there, but really this is only the government federal student loans.
Right. Yes, that's important to clarify.
Important to clarify.
Number one, bear with us, there's a long list, but it's here. This list is here to help you. Number one, track the student loan payment pause. Will there be a 7th extension? Right. That would be a 7th extension. I didn't realize there were that many extensions, actually.
Well, I mean, it's such a political thing, right?
Yeah.
And especially with midterm elections coming up in November. I know what month it's happening, don't worry.
Totally could be a...
And like people having to start paying their loans back in September, you know, Democrats and people up for election might not want to reinstate this.
Pay attention to this.
So pay attention. I think this also kind of goes to making sure that your contact information is updated for your student loan.
Yes. Yep.
Because you will find out and get your information that way to make sure, like, do you actually need to start paying on August 21st? Like, what is your repayment date? Is it getting pushed out? Like, this is super important to kind of to remember and understand and keep track of.
Yeah, because they send notices. The Department of Education, they send notices like a ton before, right? But through mail.
Yeah. Yes, mail and email.
Oh, okay. And email. So make sure your email is up to date.
Yeah.
Because I know with all those spams out there, everyone's changing their emails. Seriously. I swear it's getting worse.
It's getting worse, I feel like. Yeah. I think one of the other things, and this was an interesting note in the article too, is that most people actually default on their first payment when their student loans start becoming due after graduation. So this is kind of similar to that, where you haven't been paying them for so long that you don't remember or you don't think about it. And so it's really important to get that first payment in and done.
That's why the article says set a reminder for yourself. You know how I feel about like anything that you can like put in your calendar that's going to ding up on your phone or physically, like I like to write things in my calendar because I don't trust the dingy updates on my phone. I swear it sabotages me every single time. Honestly, it's like, because I'm not very technologically savvy, I'm sure it's my fault I'm not doing it right, but like, you know, whatever you do it because that's true. I mean, you're so used to not worrying about it and then all of a sudden it's going to like creep up and you'll be like, oh, shoot.
Yeah, exactly. I know I have the same thing where if I don't put it in my work calendar because that's the one I look at all the time, it basically doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It could be on my home, like my phone calendar for my home.
Yep.
But if it's not on my work calendar, like that I'm seeing on my computer screen, it's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, and mine is like old school hanging on the fridge.
What sort of theme is your calendar?
Oh my gosh, we actually were just laughing about this. We're like, why don't we have an actual calendar that we use? Like nobody does this anymore on the fridge. We're like, we need to get like a cute, cool one. You know what I mean? And we have like the free one that we got from like the community center or from when we went to the zoo.
I love it.
I think it's cute. There's animals on it.
There you go.
You know, Murphy likes it. She's like making little animal noises, pointing at it. It's fine. Does the job. You know what I mean?
It does the job.
Sign up for auto pay.
Yes. So yeah.
Do it now.
And if you don't want to, there's two things. Set up a reminder, but also the next step, which can be even better, is to set up your auto pay for your student loans. Typically, you can get 0.25% off your interest, which will save you money in the long run.
Which is gorgeous. That's a gorgeous thing. Plus, less to think about, which is another brilliant thing.
And it's just done. Yeah, exactly.
I'm all about the auto pay. If you feel like financially you feel like that money is already set aside and you feel prepared for that.
Yeah.
Like that's just a beautiful system that I feel like everyone should be utilizing.
It was something that I did not utilize for years.
Yeah, same.
And I kick myself because I definitely I didn't set a reminder. It was before, calendars in your phone and all that jazz.
Yep.
And the auto pay would have been a good option for my 20s.
Totally.
I had it set up in my later 20s, but not my early 20s. And could have saved a lot of money by doing it that way.
Yeah, I know.
But I didn't. I did in my later years, and now they're all paid off, and that's great.
I know. Well, I feel like also like we come from a generation where like it was all do it yourself, and then it kind of moved into like trusting like these digital options. Yeah. And I just think I don't know, it was weird to wrap my head around like it just automatically taking money from my account. Yeah. I was like, I don't trust this. You know, I don't know. It just didn't feel natural.
I was also at a point where I was living more paycheck to paycheck. Totally. And my paycheck was a variable because I was on commission. So
what if the money's not there?
Yeah, what if the money's not there? And I was like, ugh. So
I think that was factor.
My rationale at the time. In retrospect, it was
a lot of younger a lot of students that are like, you know, they're going to be in that. Like, it makes sense if you are in that position and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to have that money available. I don't want someone just taking it out of the account. I need to make sure beforehand. So like, you know, but if you can, auto pay all the way.
Exactly.
Budget for the restart of payment. So like go through your finances now, like see what you have, see if, you know, like start budgeting if it's not there, because it's coming. Hopefully it's not. Maybe it's not.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, I think it's because you haven't been used to paying it for almost 2 years.
Yeah, you're used to having that extra cash.
So do you need to make extra money to pay off those? Yeah. Like have your loan payment? How do you do that? Do you pick up an extra job? Do you
That's another tip.
Save money someplace else? Like how are you going to budget for this extra money coming out?
Totally. They talk about raising funds in other ways.
Like you can also sell things on Craigslist. Maybe you've gotten a lot of crap that you don't need, or maybe you're like a cool vintage shopper and you can start an Etsy shop or something.
I have a lot of friends who are selling things on, I can't even remember the name of it. It's like a clothing Poshmark, and they all have like their own like Instagram Poshmark where they're selling stuff, and I think that's a really like cool idea. If you have the time and you can like do that, it's like why not? I just throw my stuff in a bag and take it to Goodwill typically, but I'm like, maybe this is a good idea. I can be more mindful about like what I'm doing with the things I don't want and see if it can help us out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a ton of different services that you can do. Poshmark, I know ThreadUp is another one that I've used quite frequently.
Yes.
And you could also take it to your good old Buffalo Exchange if you live in a little bit more city area.
Yep.
So there's lots of options, especially depending on like the caliber of clothes that you have.
We use our Next Door Neighbor app, and we've sold like outdoor furniture and things like that. You know what I mean? And it's been very resourceful for us actually. So
that's great.
Hey, start saving now.
I think that they had a good plan in place. So knowing that you're going to have this extra money coming out, like start this month by saving a quarter of that.
Sure.
And then next month it's half. And then in September, you'll be up to saving that full amount that's going to be coming out of your account each month.
Yeah.
So like building up to that, I think is a really great way to do this.
Yes. And also, this is really important, look out for scams. So do not pay a fee to anybody to suspend repayment on your student loans or to apply a loan forgiveness. The federal government provides these services for free.
There you go.
So be careful out there, kids.
But remember to pay your student loans.
Pay your student loans and auto pay if you can.
Yep.
These are the highlights of the tips. All right. We are going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back to remind you of the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to give you a quick reminder not to miss today's episodes of Your Money, Your Wealth, ETF Stories, and Life's Third Act. You can catch them all on ROI TV. Where exactly?
We are now live on Distro TV, which is very exciting and very easy to find. And we also can be found on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your iOS or Android device. So check us out there.
There's no excuse, really.
We're everywhere you want to be.
That's right. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kem Hills. We'll see you tomorrow with another big old, potentially iced cup of coffee.